supplementary?
Nothing further, thank you.
Senator Galvez.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Ma question est pour le sénateur Gold. Following declarations of our Prime Minister, many Canadians are decrying that our country does not have a major pharmaceutical company of its own developing a vaccine to fight COVID-19. John Carrington, a retiree with 20 years at the University of Windsor, said the former Harper government, quote, drastically cut funding to research councils, which in turn gave our fewer and smaller grants to support graduate students and postgraduate fellows with heads full of knowledge and try to discover. Some gave up on a career in research, some went elsewhere, and where funds for labs and smart people were available and new knowledge was published, companies set up their shops nearby, end quote. That's why we don't have a vaccine being developed in Canada a few years after austerity medicine.
Sorry, Senator Galvez, I'm going to have to interrupt you. We seem to be having more trouble with our translation. It appears now that the translations are reversed, so we could have somebody attend to that.
Okay.
Better now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Senator Galvez.
Problem. Sorry. So, Senator Gold, how can the government reassure Canadians that it will negotiate this economic crisis without resorting to such austerity measures with fatal consequences for public health and ensure Canadians have a sustainable access to all essential materials for a resilient society, including vaccines?
Your question. This government, I'm advised, has invested over $1 million in research so that Canadian scientists can continue their work to find therapies, treatments, and even a possible vaccine for COVID-19. And this includes scaling up investments in our manufacturing capability, as well as partnering with the most promising international partners. Regrettably, Canada's capacity to produce vaccines domestically has slipped away from us, and we need to rebuild that. But I should add that through the Canadian Institutes of Health Research, $180 million was used to support over 300 university-based research projects on the subject of COVID-19, and they include not only vaccines, but as projects focusing on limiting the health consequences of the vaccine on Canadians. And it's consistent with this government's commitment to support science and the vital role science plays in the life of Canadians. And indeed, since 2016, over $10 billion have been invested for science and research. And but that doesn't change the fact that we are still some time away from rebuilding that capacity to which you mentioned.
Senator Galvez.
Oui, merci. Je veux insister parce que, comme vous le savez, presque 300 coronavirus sont des zoonoses et là-dedans, il y a beaucoup qui sont recensés comme étant potentielles maladies transmissibles à l'homme. Donc, on a besoin de mesures concrètes pour nous préparer pour la prochaine pandémie et pour éviter que nous nous retrouvions dans cette même incapacité de développement et de production de vaccins domestiquement.
Senator Gold.
Le gouvernement est entièrement en accord.